Welcome back to Horrifically Well Read, Bled, and Said. Tonight, we are so excited to welcome back to the show VS Lawrence, friend of the pod, to talk about her new book, Just Us Here, releasing on July 24th. Welcome, V.
Hi, thank you so much for having me again.
Yeah, we're excited. I got to tell you, Adam and I were about to make a reel on who our
Bye.
Mm,
auto bi- auto read like authors, and we felt like you had to have a qualification of at least 3 books written that were like, yes, we loved all three, and you were Adam's like, we're not trying to overlap, but you're going to be on mine
Yeah.
because I love everything you read. This would be now the fourth one. Adam, I think you've read five now,
Is it
right? Because
six?
you just read the
Three?
patch.
Wait, you've read, this is your fourth.
Yes.
Yeah. And my fifth. Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah. I've read all
So
five.
we just in the fifth one that you're the patch isn't out yet,
No, that's October, part
but
of the Totally
mhm.
Freak series,
yeah,
nostalgic.
but like no matter what you're writing, I just seem to really love your voice and you're just the it's never difficult for me to get into one of your books
No,
or to stay engaged. It's so great.
absolutely.
But this
Thank
is a
you.
yeah, this is a little bit of a different style for you, huh?
Yeah.
But it works.
Yeah, so tell us, what is Just Us Here?
It is my modern gothic tradwife influencer ghost story. It's it is a huge pendulum swing from what I have been doing, and it's really for anyone who likes something a little more psychological, a little darker, bleak, and something that's more about less about what actually happens and more about like what happens to a woman when
Mhm.
she's put in a certain situation, if that makes any sense. But
Absolutely, and just reading this book, sometimes when you read a book, you get the feeling that the author had to write it. Like, this is the book that it feels like, I don't know what exactly was going on, but it just feels like it was one of those things where I'm reading it and I'm like, "This just feels like it just, like, needed to be said and come out." So,
Mhm.
Is that true?
yes, what was the origins?
Uh, I've had an idea for a tradwife book for a couple of years, but it just finally started happening, and I think there's a lot that was behind it that made it just be like, "Now is the time." I think part of it is that my role as a caregiver really ramped up, and it's not the same as being, like, a trad wife and a mom, but there's a lot of overlap there, and I was feeling a lot of pressure to be something,
Yeah.
and, to the feelings of just always being needed,
Mhm.
um,
And
and your
on,
life.
right?
Sorry,
Like
what was that?
I said, and always being on.
Yes, yes, always, always being on, and even when you're like, I have a few minutes to relax, and I have some time to myself," it's like, "No, I don't.
Mhm.
Any minute, someone's gonna need something from me," and it's not just, like, the caretaker role, it's also trying to be a good friend, trying to be an author, trying to just be a person, a good fiancé, just to everyone. The pressure is a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, and you feel like your identity is less of, like, who you are than it is, like, who you are to these other people, or, your identity is tied into your proximity and your worth to other people, right?
Yes, 100%. It's like my worth is based on what I'm giving to other people, and that's not a healthy way to live, but it's
No,
an
yeah, that's
easy thing to fall into.
absolutely, yeah, and especially because like, when someone truly needs it, whether it is, an aging parent or someone maybe with an illness or a newborn, they cannot do it for themselves. So someone has to be that caregiver. And of course, like you want to, you love that person and you want to step into that role, but it takes a lot.
It
Yes,
sounds
exactly.
a lot of withdrawals and not enough deposits.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's really interesting because this main character, Ren, is very complex. And, the whole trad wife thing, both in books right now and in social media and stuff like that, obviously it's having a huge moment right now. But I feel like what differentiates Ren from a lot of these other characters and maybe even like real life personalities is that Ren is truly a chameleon.
Mhm.
Ren's less of a true trad wife than she is a really savvy person on social media, and she's like, "Okay, food reviews are really big. Okay, makeup tutorials. Okay, finding my partner." Like, she's really jumping from thing to thing really successfully, but it's almost really interesting to read as she's making all of her choices in I think that that probably is a lot of the case with this sort of sphere, but it's almost like she's making these choices not from her personal again, her identity really doesn't come into these kind of things that she films or choices.
Mhm.
It's really more about, "Okay, this is a job that I'm doing 24/7 on top of actually being a parent and wife."
Yes, yes, and I think that's something that, if you if you're online from a very young age and you're online a lot as either your job or hobby or just for fun, I think it is really hard to find an actual identity because if you're playing the algorithm, you're switching things up so frequently that you're not really getting in touch with what you actually are. And I think we're all guilty of it because especially as authors, we need to figure out what hits and what sells our books. And so sometimes I think we're chasing these trends and not being authentic to who we actually are. And I mean, I've been online since I was in my early 20s, and like that's where I socialized the most. And I've definitely found myself being like, wait, is this something I actually enjoy doing? Or am I doing it because everybody else in this little sphere I've found is doing this? And yeah, I think it's hard to find yourself as it is. But when you throw in chasing trends, I think it makes it a little harder.
I love that because it's almost like a okay, where does the performance and where does the identity end? Like what parts what? And
Hmm.
is constantly editing, right? And recalibrating who you are, what works. It's like, but again, like, is that which came first, the chicken or the egg? Is
Yeah.
that does the personality and where does it bleed through all of that? So
Hmm.
I found it fascinating. I wanted to ask you how much like research did you use in writing this? Because two parts. One point, Ren goes to the farmer's market and she wants her husband to film her. And he's like, I'm really, really exhausted from like this move and from doing everything. Like, I'll come next week. And she's like, shit, like, I really wanted you to get shots of me picking the fruit. Like, the algorithm doesn't reward, me just like panning over.
POV,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, like, one,
Hmm.
how much research for that? And then two, I just felt like you nailed it in the comment section of the way that people respond. How much time did you spend researching in comments?
I don't think that I did a ton of like, I wouldn't call it research. I'm chronically online. Like, it's a problem how much I am online. And I just watch a lot of content, which again, problematic. But I think it was just, especially with the comment section, I one of my favorite things is to read comment sections just
Yeah.
because yeah, I do. I really do. I
Sometimes
like
it's better
seeing
than actual content though, you know?
yeah,
Can
it
be
depends on
accessible, but,
yeah. I think it's just fascinating to see so many different points of view on one thing, right?
mm,
You'll see a video and it seems so innocent, and then you'll see 500 different takes from so many different angles. I
yeah.
find that fascinating. I'm like, how did you get that from a kitten climbing up a tower, right? I think it's so interesting and there's a lot of weird stuff in comment sections, and I don't know, I find it fascinating and like a tiny little microcosm of the world, I guess,
Part
encapsulated.
clearly Ren has a bunch of, like, regular followers that are just haters, like, they hate to watch her, but, like, they still tune in,
They're there every
and
time.
she still makes money, and I'm ascertaining that from the fact that, like, man, her stuff's getting messy now, or, "Oh, she's doing this," or but
Mhm.
it's that unfiltered take, and then you see, like, there's supportive people. One of my favorite comments that you put in the book is where it's like, "The fuck?" Yeah. Whenever I read that, I laugh so hard. Like, I you immediately get the feeling, but it's so good, and, like, I love the way that the book sets up, if you feel like you're read like you set up of like, okay, this is what the video feels like, the sounds, the backgrounds. It's like I can hear her doing the
Yeah.
video. It's very easy to, and then the way you have the comment section laid out, it's like you really I feel like fused the online medium with the book medium, so it feels like you're getting that.
Thank you, thank you. It was, those were my favorite sections to write, and actually, when I was trying to figure out how I wanted to lay them out, I was like, "I kind of want it to be almost like a screenplay, but not exactly." And I reached out to Brian McCauley because he teaches
Mhm.
screenwriting, and I was like, "Can you give me some ideas of how I should set this up?" Just because I have no idea what I'm doing. I've never written anything close to a screenplay. So he gave me a few resources, which really helped and, definitely helped me set up the kind of transcription, I guess, portions in a way that I felt was just close enough to what I was aiming for.
Mhm.
So, I'm just I love the other writers in this space and how willing they are to help.
That is
Yeah, that is
awesome.
awesome.
Mhm.
It's really interesting, reading, especially in the comment section and stuff like that through them, and found footage is probably, like, my favorite, like, subgenre
Mhm.
of horror films, so bringing in that kind of, like, feel into the book was really awesome. But it's so funny how when you get to the end of the book, and again, no spoilers for anything, but there's things in the comment sections that you don't even realize they're foreshadowing or that they're ominous.
Mhm.
And then obviously lots of things in the central narrative that you realize too, but the comment section, it feels like is especially, like, insidious for some of those things. I'm just wondering, like, obviously, I'm assuming you knew you were gonna do those kinds of things, but what did you actually, like, go back and say, "Okay, I wanna put this in here now that I know this is gonna happen later?" Like, did that all just, like, come fluidly, or did you, like, go back and, like, add some things and stuff like that?
It was mostly fluid. There were a couple of comments that I'm like, "Oh, let's spruce this one up or add just a little snippet for this thing." But actually, the book originally did not have its current ending. I had a much more hopeful ending when I started writing it, and when I got to, I think, my first, like, major structural edits, I
Mhm.
was like, "I can't do this ending.
Yeah.
This, um, this isn't right." It turns it more into satire, and it's not right. And so I had to do a whole rework of the end and unfortunately had to take it a lot darker of a place than I intended.
Well, and is that like one of those things where, when people say with like a recipe, like measure with your heart and
Mhm.
stuff, like, is it just one of those things where you feel balanced in your spirit when you're getting it right? Or like, how long did it take for you to eat at you enough to be like, I got to change this?
I think it was as soon as I finished and I did that first read through, I was like, "No, no." And I was mad because 'cause I'm like, "I don't wanna have to rewrite the ending." That's
Yeah. Yeah. You get that. But you're like, I also can't stand it like this either.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, "This is just so wrong." And it does not fit. I love the idea, but not for this story.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, immediately I was just like, "Ah, crap, okay, I'm gonna have to do this," which it's especially hard because there are a lot of structural things in the middle of the story that need tweaking once you're like, chuck
This
out
is
the end.
yeah.
But, it all came together, I think, pretty decently, and I got to add in some pigs, which I was very happy about. So
Very nice. Well,
Well, is it?
nice. Well, Adam read the book before I did, and he's like, it's going to be different from like what you've read before from VSN. It's like, it has a slow build up. And so he's like, but it gets really good. And I'm like, I'm only 20% in at that point. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I think a lot of shit's happened already. And he's like, oh, good. You're going to really like it. But it is very ominous. And you drop lots of little things that I'm like, oh, shit. Like, I definitely feel the gothic come
Yeah.
through. Like,
that's
right
good.
away, absolutely, and just, like, she meets this person, the rando at the farmer's market, and she's just like, "Yeah, yeah, no, that house has a really long history. It has
Yeah.
a lot of," just is like, "Okay, so tell me about it." Just, we'll have to go," kind of thing. Like, just kind of like, "Okay." And then there's just pockets of weird things, cold, like freezing cold things, like air at different parts, shadow, like just different things that you build in. And just even in like that first 20% of the book, that, in terms of the foreshadowing is really good. And yet, by even by 50%, you're like, I'm not exactly sure what's gonna happen here, but I can't wait to find out and just, you know, see where this is going. How much did you want the reader to like or dislike the husband?
You know, I I wrote him and I was like, he needs to be I don't want him to be a caricature of a
Mhm.
bad husband. So I did have to pull back a little bit from my initial the way he was written. But I do want people to dislike him because he's not evil. He's not. He does some terrible things, but he's not a horrible, horrible person. But he's definitely not a good person. I don't know if
Yeah,
He's definitely like
we've
you're
all met him.
yes, where
we
you're like
all know this man.
yeah,
Yes.
where you're like, he's not terrible to my friend, but he's not doing anything for her either, you know?
Mhm,
And at one point they have a discussion and, she's, you know, pretty freshly postpartum, like 3, 4 months, and, they've moved, and, she's doing all of her influencer stuff, and she's like, "Hey, would it be, like, something that we can get, like, a housekeeper?" And he's just kinda like, "Why? Like, that's your
yeah,
job as an influencer." And it's just like, and she says to him, "Well, if that's the case, then how come I make just as much or almost as much as you,
Yeah.
and I have to do all these other things?" And I just
Mhm.
felt like that was a key part that I wanted to chat with you about, because there's been significant studies throughout the year of how much a stay-at-home mom or a caregiver
mhm,
actually provides in
Mhm.
terms of work ethic, and how much it's just seen as like not really, doing a lot, or, it's just normal day-to-day stuff. Have you looked at any of that, of how much, like,
'Cause they, like, separate the incomes of the different,
yeah,
like, jobs that it
yeah,
actually would be and stuff, and it's yeah. But the fact that, like, I'm glad that you brought that scene up too because it's like, the husband kind of has this mentality of, "You wanted this, I'm paying for it, my job is to
mhm,
make the money," and she, like, kind of, like, pulls that rug out. It's like, "I make pretty much the same amount that you do, so you can't really hide behind that," and I really love that because it kinda takes away that sort of power that he tries to hold over her, right?
yeah,
mhm,
and plus, like, I'm thinking as I read that scene, I'm like, but she might not be filming scrubbing the sinks today, or she's not filming, like her running fucking ragged all over the house to do
Mhm,
all this, right? Like she's very intentional and purposeful with her content and what she frames and how she shares it. And he's just obviously not that involved and doesn't watch it and review it to know that, like, that actually does not, all this extra shit is just me doing the extra stuff of a life.
mhm,
And I think it's just like a bullshit, because and I guess it's that myopic view or whatever in general, but it's like, okay, if they were a renter, okay, but you still need clothes and you still need to eat dinner and you still need to get, like, all those things are the same whether you live in a purchased, farmhouse, or you rent. Like, there are daily chores that, in order to exist as a human, or,
mhm,
you have to do, regardless if she was an influencer or not. It's just, it's so short-sighted and dismissive. And
yes,
I personally just wanted to kind of wring his neck for that, because it's such a traditional view, and just like, let's get with the times here, it's
mhm,
exhausting to do all that, and it always was. The fact that that wasn't acknowledged then or even now, and anybody that can't afford to be a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home dad, like, you earn your money being at home, and God
mhm,
bless you, because I had to go to work. Like, I was sad about that for a long time, and then I realized, like, no, I need to go to work. I would not have been a good stay-at-home mom. Like,
For your mental health.
for everybody's health, it's
Yeah.
better that I work.
Yeah, the stay-at-home parent is doing so much work, and it's never even again, when you've got some free time, some downtime, when the kids are taking a nap, no, you don't, not because that child may wake up at any moment, and you have to steal a few minutes when they are quiet and get things done that you've put off for so long, like, I can finally clean out this drawer that's been accumulating stuff for years, and it does go unnoticed, and it's taken for granted, and it's one of those things also, like, people who are doing the influencer thing, it's easy to see that and be like, you don't have a real job because you're on your phone all the time, or you're at home, or you're doing whatever. Even the author thing that I'm trying to do, it's like, I don't look like I'm working, I'm on my computer all the time, but you're constantly doing research, marketing, making graphics, reaching out to people, and it's constant. So when you put that, which is like a full-time job, along with being a parent, which is a full-time job, it's so much. And when you have a spouse that doesn't see it and doesn't understand that kind of labor, it's
Heavy.
I
It's
just
isolating
it's
at
so
home.
heavy.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I think even when you remarked about the caregiving aspect of it, I mean, we're in our early 40s and, it's like anybody that's of this age and older when they say like, "Oh, no one tells you about aging parents," and like,
Sandwich parenting, they're calling it
yeah,
now,
I mean,
yeah.
and it's like it is you just like even when both my parents, thank God, I'm like, "Thank God you're both done with both of your knees," because the knee surgery is a lot. And,
Yeah.
it was like wasn't until after my dad's first knee surgery and he had some complications and ended up having like a heart attack, like a clot happened
Mhm.
and he had
Middle of COVID.
yes, he had 3 stents put in, then he had 2 more, but I mean, it was there a lot is what I'm trying to say, and I'm really was grateful because at that point, it was just I wanted to be there. It was still very exhausting, but at that point, finally, we found out for the insurance that, like, they actually have something where they'll make meals and drop them off through his and they had, like, a car service that would come and, like,
Mm.
pick him up, and I was like, "Wow, I wish somebody would have told me about this, like, before now." At this point, we were taking him, but I just there's this guilt too, I think, of, like, if you're not doing it all and you wanna do it and stuff, but anyway, my point in saying you're happy to do it, and then you're also emotionally exhausted in a way that I don't think you can catch up on,
Mhm.
uh, and I don't think I've ever been so tired than after I've had after having a baby. Maybe other people, like, bounce back, but, I had all the postpartum fun stuff
Mm.
both times, and it's just, I was like, I'm anemic, and I'm exhausted, and I'm healing from a C-section each time, and, it's a lot. I mean, your hormones are and I'm just thinking about how I was like, "Girl, how did you decide to move and you're shooting all the" and, like but she reminds me of some people that I know that just they don't slow down,
Yeah.
they can just go, and I'm just not that type of person. I wish I were, but
Well, I think, and you bring it up with when you're talking about, like, the writing and everything that comes with that, especially as, like, an indie, like, you do it, you're a one person machine here with everything. And a lot of times, influencers and different people with lots of, sort of their own business is essentially what it is. There's no hours. Her husband goes to work from 9 to 5 or whatever it is, and he's done. And,
Mhm.
whether it is laundry or cook or a baby that's crying or an email that you have to respond to or, a story that has a deadline or whatever it is, it's like if it's 11 o'clock at night and something happens, you have to do it. And it's like, there is no downtime. Even like you said, when you have what appears to be downtime, even if it's not that like that drawer that you're feeling guilty about not cleaning out, you're still just thinking about, I know something's gonna come. And you can't
Mm.
rest. You're thinking
Yeah.
about that. And neurodivergent people like us, sometimes I remember even like when I was like in high school and I would get home from school like, at noon, and then I had to work at, like, 4.
Mhm.
your
Well,
day
the 4
your
was
day's shot.
worthless. Yeah,
Yeah, you're
like,
not doing Yeah.
all I'm thinking about is how I have to work it for, and I have no relaxation. And that's kinda like the life that Ren has is there's never a point of relaxation. And, it kind of makes me think about, like, Shirley Jackson's work, The Yellow Wallpaper and The Turn of the
Yes.
Screw, where it's like, The Turn of the Screw basically, I had a professor that, like, broke it down for us really interestingly, like, going through it and realizing, like, the story takes place over, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 days, and she never sleeps the entire time.
Mm,
And you're like, "Okay, what is it like when you haven't slept for, like"
yeah,
even if you've only gotten a few hours, like, things start to get weird. And,
yeah,
I
so
can't handle anything after a certain level. I have
yeah.
my tolerance, my fuse, my yeah, all my sensitivity, all that.
So it's like
mhm,
some of the things that are happening for Ren here where the tools aren't in the right place or this and that kind of thing. It's like it really becomes like,
Did I do
okay,
this? Did I not do this?
yeah,
Am I
yeah,
sleepy? This yeah, it's you do a good job of that, B, of really trying to like what is she an unreliable narrator?
mm,
Yes, very good.
thank you.
It's funny too, the last thing I wanna say about, like, the person who stays at home, whether it's female or male or, mom or dad or whatever caregiver it is. I think there's always this pressure to prove that you did work that day,
uh,
'cause
Yeah,
for the other person, it's like, I got up, I got dressed, I drove in. No one really knows how your day was or how much like, how hard or how little you did, but, like, at home, it's like, "Why isn't that done? Why is that dirty? Why is it" you know what I mean?
or it's
Even
like I left and you were on your phone. I came home and you were on your phone. It's like, but you
yeah,
don't know what I'm doing on that phone.
right? 100%. And I also grew up in a house where I was told that, like, you need to have 8 hours of productive time, 8 hours of sleep, and then you can have 8 hours for rest. And it's like, in theory, sure, but, that's not how it works in practice. So the guilt
absolutely. It's a
to be
lot.
productive.
Yeah, it also makes me think of that I think Weird Al had an album called Mandatory Fun, and it makes me think of too, it's like, "Okay, that out 8 hours to start, have fun right now." And it's like,
Mhm.
what do I do? Like, and then again, you're thinking, "I'm supposed to be relaxing now, and I'm not relaxed." Like, and
Yeah,
you're like, "I might as well just go do something else then."
yeah, and it's like in that 8 hours of not work time, it's like, "Okay, well, I have to eat, and
Yeah,
that means I have to spend some time preparing food, and I have to make sure my family is eating, so I have to prepare food for them," and it's just it all gets so muddled, and it's not like, "Hey, I've got 8 hours of solid fun time."
yeah, and after we eat, there's a mess that has to be
Yep.
cleaned up or it
Yes,
has to be
exactly.
thrown out. Yeah.
So, uh, and that brings me to my next topic of why a lot of women, I think they talk a lot more about women doing it. I'm sure men do it too. Revenge bedtime, where you just are like, I think it might be more of the neurodivergent as well, of just saying, I'm not going to bed. I'm
Yeah.
exhausted, but I'm going to sit here, damn it, and I'm going to scroll. I know I'm going to fucking hate myself for it tomorrow, but I don't
Mhm.
have enough quiet and alone and downtime right now.
Yes, yeah.
I want to give a shout out to perimenopause for the fact that I can't go to sleep. Now anyway, and I'm regularly up till 2 because now my revenge bedtime is just my normal time, so I feel better about that, but, like, 2 to 8, it's working for me, but it is though, you know, you need time, especially for a neurodivergent family like we are, to unplug, to recharge,
Mhm.
to have that little quiet bubble of as, demandless, frictionless, all of that, and, especially with a newborn or caretaking responsibilities, you're not getting that
Yeah, it's true.
for a while.
Yeah.
Even if you have a puppy or a kitten, the kitten that you can see that's on our screen right here is the most her name's Honeybee, and she is the most loving little kitten, but V, she had me up all night because she was just like, I love you so much. Let me rub my face all of yours right now." And
Yeah.
I'm like, "This is wonderful," but it is 4 in the morning and I'm completely awake and I just fell asleep and it was all night long.
And
And
she has,
Mhm.
like, upper respiratory thing that we're, like have taken her to the vet 3 times now for, and so she sounds like an asthmatic grandma while she's sleeping.
yeah,
Mm,
I love her, she's getting better, but, it was just like I was like, "Oh my god, how did I ever do this as a parent?" And I
yeah.
know didn't there were so many times where thank God for Adam, or even when the dog used to act up, we had, it was like they were doing that during the hot weather
Oh, yeah.
because they couldn't go outside and run and they couldn't go walk. So they were like really pent up with like, what are we
Mhm.
supposed to be doing
Yeah,
in the middle of the night? And I was like, I need my sleep. I cannot doing this. It was horrible.
it's so true. My dog over the winter was having some issues with his stomach, and for about 2 days, it was about every 30 minutes he had to go out, and I felt so bad for him, and then I was like, I could never do kids. I can't handle a dog doing this for 2 days, like, props to everyone who does have kids and can do this, because, geez Louise.
Yeah.
Well, they dupe you because they don't tell you, you don't know it until it's too late,
Yeah.
so
This is exactly true. Now, I was thinking of Alyssa Alessi because her dog had surgery and
Mhm.
it was like they weren't allowed to walk and go out to the bathroom or do
Mm,
anything. It was like spinal for like 5 weeks.
mm. Oh,
Like, God, girl, like, and but you do it because you love that
mhm.
animal to do it, but exhausted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and when you're in that state, you make weird choices and, all that kinda stuff. One thing I wanted to say that was really interesting, and I think about this because I love haunted house stories, books, movies, everything. And, there's a lot of haunted house feel in this book. But so many times, like when I'm watching something or enjoying it, I have to really suspend my belief because it's like no one would stay in this place. Like in
Mhm.
some movies and stuff that you watch and stuff like that. And that's why like I feel like this is so effective too, because there's really no one thing that happens until it's too late that would make someone leave or make someone say, "Oh, I need help. Oh, there's something really wrong here," and all that kinda stuff, because, like, it's not that, like, get out,
Mm,
vomiting up flies, all that kinda stuff. It just feels wrong, it feels ominous, and, for someone that's already sort of, like, being told that, their worth may be less and things like that, that it's very hard to say like, "Oh, I really wanna talk about this," or,
yeah.
especially when that other person is oblivious to very extremely obvious things.
Mhm.
Are they gonna notice a cold spot? You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
no, or the hammer's in the wrong place. Well, I don't know where the hammer's supposed to be in the first place, right? So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, and
yes.
there's also, like, when something is your idea, like it's Ren's idea to go out into the country and do this trad wife thing. So there is that also hesitancy to admit, like,
I messed
this
up.
is not working. This is bad.
Yeah.
We picked a bad house.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a part in there where she's like, "Well, I was thinking about the house, all things," and he's like, yeah, like you better be, because like you really begged to be here." And I was like, ugh, it's
Yeah.
like
Shut down all any
even if
kind of
she was
talk.
gonna bring it up, you
Yeah.
just yeah, exactly.
Mhm. And I also really love the idea that it's Maple Farm and it's not a there are no
Maple Cottage.
Maple Cottage, and it's not a cottage, and there's no maples, like, what a great opening, and, like, it really cracks me up because no names involved, but there's a neighbor that has named their house similarly that has neither of the things that name there too, and it just, like I was like, "It's so true because you gotta have that catchy, that, like, I'm
See,
thinking
first
of
I was thinking about the one that's closest to him. I was like, "That's an odd name. Why?" And then I'm like, "Oh, okay, yes, yes," because but they are a living example of trying to be like
yes,
yes, and
it were
so
just
it is
yeah,
very funny, isn't it?
mhm.
You nailed the persona, I think is what we're trying to say. It's
Yeah,
like
Thank
absolutely.
you.
incredibly thick.
It's, the whole Maple Farms, that was one of those things that every time a new development pops up around me, and I'm in Utah, I'm in the desert, we have specific animals here. Whenever I see one that's like Badger Hollow, I'm like, "We don't have badgers." I'm like, "Okay, sure, why the heck not?" That was one of those things I'm like, it's so pretentious in such a weird way, and I just like, perfect, perfect for an influencer going for a vibe.
Yeah, where it's
Ugh.
like Oceans View Drive and you're in a landlocked state. It's like, "What are you doing? Like, what are you talking about?"
So one of the things I know about you is, you play The Sims, and very rich sim life, and I'm, like, wondering of, like, your character development, like, do you test some of these personas out
Oh
on your
my
Sims
god.
before you write characters like this? Like, does this come into play here at all?
It doesn't, but I have wanted to make my Sims, like, all of my book characters as Sims and make posts about it. I just haven't gotten around to it, but
Let me tell you,
yeah.
that account so fast because the thing here
You're
that is
giving her
going on.
more work, come on, she's
I
trying.
know, but, like, her sim world is so rich and,
It's
like,
amazing.
it's like a great telenovela. It's
Mhm.
really functional.
Oh my gosh, my Sims are unhinged.
It was funny because I never played The Sims and never like, it's kind of part of the zeitgeist and, cultural stuff of what they look like and, the green diamond thing and stuff like that. But our exchange student that left recently,
Yeah,
she played The Sims, and I'm watching her play a few times, and I'm like, "This is the most unhinged,
yes.
crazy stuff that I'm like, what is
She's like
happening?"
she's like, "Where's
Yep.
my baby? I can't find my baby." Like, I literally can't find it. And she's like, "Wait," and then, like, it was, like, days, and she still couldn't and she's like, "She's gonna die. She's gonna die because I can't find her." And then, like, she stood in this one area, and all of a sudden, like, the showed that the baby was on her hip, like, the whole time. I don't even know how that happened.
It's like having your phone pocket
Pretty
with
much,
your
I
boobs on your
it was very funny, but no, I mean and then Annabelle was playing it the other day, and she was like, "Oh, my child just died," and I'm like, "What?" She's like, "It's okay, I birthed another one right now," and I'm
I have
like,
another one,
"Okay."
backup child.
It sounds like a lot of fun though, but no, genuinely for the character development, like, are you one of the type of authors where, you let the character tell you, like, you just get someone, like, it's like, "This person needs to be written," or how do you come about that? Because I feel like, as Adam was saying, like, Ren is very determined, she's very specific, like, even just how she's like, "Oh, and I'm gonna give you my recipe for my best laundry detergent." And I'm like, "How do these type of people exist?" But yet they do. And I'm like, "How do you know? How do you know all this?" Like,
Yeah.
and there she is. So I'm just like, "How did you come up with her?"
M she just was. I think that happens with all of my characters is they just kind of as soon as I start writing, they just kind of present themselves as they are.
Love that.
Um, yeah, which is always a bit of a surprise, with some of my other books, like Chalupa Cabra. I had no idea that Trina was going to be who she was, and I'm so glad she was, that she
Yeah,
came out, and she's, like, the best part of that book.
I love her.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I
There's a
just
character in the patch that, reminded me a little bit of Trina, and you write that found family and those characters so well that I just, like, I wanna be friends with so many of your characters.
Yeah.
I'm just writing the people I wish that I had.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Let's make my friends, why not?"
Mhm.
Is
But
What
that
yes, they all just
yeah,
kind of appear.
that you just like, I love this character. I love that you said it like that.
Well, that's interesting. Does that make you wanna write sequels, or does that make you say, like, "Okay, this is their story," I kinda see it going both ways of, like, I wanna die to them again, right?
Yeah, so with 80s Ghosts, I at the end of that book, I was sick of all of them. Um, People want sequels to that one, I'm like, "It's never happening, I'm sorry. I just hate these people." And it's nothing that they've done, I just spent way too much time with them.
Yeah.
And but with Chalupa Cabra, there may be 1 or 2 stories with them.
They're fantastic. What
They
about
might come back.
the summer camp one?
Yeah, with friends like these, definitely was open for some
You
more.
left that a cliffhanger, so I
Mm.
could
Yes, that one also has a sequel that will eventually happen.
I'm so
Um,
excited to hear that.
I've got it all outlined, but my problem is I have all these ideas that are bombarding me, and the newest one is, like, the one I'm so excited about, and so I'm, like, all in, and then I stray, and then a new idea wanders in, and I'm like, this one now."
What a
So,
Squirrel.
what a
yeah.
bird to be so talented.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
sure
you're so, so kind.
it's very difficult to prioritize or to stay on task with those certain ideas for sure. That's a good segue. What can you share about what you are working on right now?
Oh, well, I'm trying it's not likely to happen this year. I was trying to get a collection of short Christmas horror stories out for this Christmas, and I thought I could do it, but life is lifing, and has kind of slowed down that progress. So next year, Christmas horror collection. And then what I'm currently working on, I haven't stepped into anything fully, but I did. I was just at Creepaway Camp in Colorado
Oh,
with some really talented authors who gave amazing workshops. And after Sam Rebeline's workshop, I was so inspired and I outlined a whole new book. So that might be the next thing. It's about AI psychosis.
Oh.
So yeah, we'll
Hey.
see if I can focus.
incredible. I love that. I feel like, first of all, I wouldn't worry about the Christmas stuff. What's great about the Christmas stories is, I think what's scary for Christmas, it's probably always going to be on trend. I guess is what I'm saying. Like there is
Mhm.
no trend to it. It's like a
As long as it
Yuletide
yeah.
story as long as it's Christmas.
Yeah.
But with the AI psychosis, I think that can be a lot of fun. And as every single thing is petitioning for AI.
Mhm.
That's fantastic, and that could be really fun to watch some of these people that you've seen already spiral and how they're behaving.
It's crazy to see. The fact that it's being shoved into everything is just like, ugh,
Yeah,
it's
with
disgusting.
We just had a conversation with Justin Key, who is a therapist,
mhm.
psychologist by day, and
Mhm,
he did have a patient, like, talking to his phone. He's like, "Yeah, all right, ChatGPT says they agree with
Yeah,
you."
as they're, you know, having their session, he's, like, has his phone out to check what is being said to him. Like, I can't even imagine that. And it's like yeah, so that's crazy. As I was reading and finishing, this book, and like you said, the ending is perfect, but it is, like you said, it is bleak and it goes to places you probably like, to me, I was like, "She went there, okay," and very, like, very much, but it really, like, felt like such a, like, sort of dive into what it means to be online when you have to be and you have no choice to be, and
mhm,
the way that you're seen by people because, like, I think, like, the last few comment sections are really disturbing in their inhumanity, essentially,
mhm,
and sort of, like, this whole idea of, like, that parasocial thing of, like, realizing that, yes, these people are making content, these people are making money off of it, they're becoming popular, famous, whatever it is that you wanna call it, but they are human, and that can be lost so much on people and in the way that they interact with those people, and it's like, I just can't imagine, I can't imagine typing it out to someone, but can you ever imagine, like, actually saying the things that these people say to that person? And I
yeah,
think that you really, like, explore that, and it really is like, it asks a lot of questions about, like, what we're kind of doing as a people, right? Like,
yeah,
what is it like, why are we doing that? And, like, what is it doing to us,
I
in a
mhm,
real
I think part of it is, like, we feel that because they chose to be an influencer, because they chose to make you think that this is their real life, that it's like, well, we're privileged to see it all. We know you. I mean, there was several comments of like just thinking of how she abuses her husband or how she doesn't involve
yeah,
him,
or
whatever.
vice versa or whatever.
But it's like
mhm,
it's almost like in the comment section, people feel like they're allowed to have any and all opinions on you because you chose to do this.
Yeah,
mhm,
you think about, like, artists like you, like, writing, you have to do this. Like, to be a writer and to be able to sell books, like, the only way you can do it is through this medium in many ways, because how else are they gonna know your book exists? So it's like a person like, myself, I'm not someone that's putting myself out there all the time and all that kind of stuff, but if you wanna do that, it becomes part of it and something that has was once and even, like, musicians have to do it, painters, like, all this kind of stuff, like, it just goes with it now.
mm,
Really, really lucky and one of the, like, 1%, that gets a team that does everything for them. And so, like, that choice is being made for you, and it's very similar to, like, being the caregiver and all that kind of stuff where it's like, of course you wanna do it, and it's almost like you have to because it's like, when you're a writer, generally, it's not like, a lot of times you wanna do it you wish you could do anything but that, but you have to do it, and it's like now that this other thing is added to it, it's become so much more, like, pressure and emotional, and mental state and so much more, painful for things, and it's just like, sometimes I just wanna say, like, "Oh my gosh, like, you guys are doing really good." Like we love your books, we love, what's happening because, like, I think that it can get lost in the meanness of people.
Yes, and every time you post something, you have to brace. It's like,
Mhm,
is this going to go over okay, or are people going to be mean about something? I've been lucky thus far. I haven't been ripped apart yet. I'm just
mhm,
waiting for the day it happens because it will. Because like you said, online, people think that they're anonymous even though they're not. They will say some absolutely vile and cruel things that they would not say in, like, face to face. They
mhm.
just wouldn't because, doing that face to face, there's a real threat you're gonna get your face ripped off. I'm gonna punch you right in the nose. But there's no risk doing it online, and it's just made us I think we've lost a lot of empathy
Yeah,
as a species.
I can't believe there's some of these comment sections though of how paranoid some people are.
Yeah,
And how many of them just shirk responsibility too, where you're like, and just can twist things, if you're reading like a political post or
yeah.
it's like, God, we do not live on the same planet. I don't understand this at all.
Well, it's funny
Yeah.
with the empathy thing that you're saying, it reminds me, I think it was Charlie Chaplin that said, "If you shoot somebody slipping and falling in a wide shot, it's a comedy. But if you zoom in on a close up to their face and the pain and the embarrassment, it's a tragedy." And,
yeah,
like, the internet is a wide shot, right?
yes,
And
yeah,
it's not just like if you said something to someone, it's not just that they're gonna tear your face off, you're gonna see them get sad. And, even people that are assholes on the internet, just watching someone be in pain, it's like, you definitely are like, you really gotta be a seriously evil person to be okay with that, like, in person.
yeah,
And, that's why you see when these people are called out and stuff like that, they're like, "W Oh, I just thought it was funny," and it's like, "No, it's not."
yeah.
I think the last thing I wanna ask about the book, when you said that the ending changed, I really have to think about because like, about the three-quarter part of the book, something happens that just changes everything.
Y
Was that always there? And just
It
what
was,
happened after? Okay, okay,
yeah.
so what happened after that is what changes, okay.
Yes, it's just the final there were, like, 2 or 3 chapters at the end that her what she did after
Mhm,
was very different,
okay,
and and then it's grown to
gotcha.
what she
And yeah, the last thing is that, like, once everything has happened, the book kind of ends on a comment section, again, no spoilers of what's in there, but I love that you did that because, like, the fact that the last words are sort of like people commenting on Ren again.
mm,
And it kind of like, to me, it dug into this idea of, like, what is truth and what is reality? Like, because there's, like, conspiracies, there's like, "Oh, I heard this happen, I heard that happen." And it's like, even as, like, the reader having read the actual narrative, I know what happened. I read
mhm,
that, "Oh, wait, did that happen?" And I'm like, "Wait, no, I know that didn't happen," but I'm like, "But I kinda hope that's what happened," and it's like, it's so interesting again that it feels like, you know, things are never completely closed when people
mhm.
continue.
Yeah, I really wanted the comment section to be I wanted it to be reflective of what actually happens and how people have this weird thing that when they see a train wreck happening right in front of them, um, they want to watch and they want to talk about it, and, it's it's kind of sad, like, I've seen people online who are clearly having, like, a mental breakdown, and people are in the comments just, like, laughing or making jokes about it or, like, coming up with all kinds of conspiracies, and I wanted that to be really reflected that, we have this weird thing as a species where we just wanna watch as something horrible happens in front of us as long as we're not involved. We're
Yeah.
just spectators, and how that's fodder for, I don't know, all kinds of gossip and it's just I don't know.
Like with traffic, like the rubbernecking when there's a really bad
Mhm.
accident where the
Yeah.
other isn't affected at all, but yet it's volume delays and because it's like everybody needs to slow down to look.
Mhm. Yeah.
There's curiosity.
But there's also, like, that thing of, like, where when someone's in trouble, everyone thinks someone else is gonna
Yes,
ask for help
Mhm.
there's this
person.
the sociology phenomenon behind it,
Yeah,
yeah.
because, like, that comment section, like, after the train wreck has happened, it's almost like the commenters are either trying to minimize what has happened or
Mm.
like, wash their hands of it, like, "I played no part in this, even though you were there the whole time." And, it's like, "No, this isn't just a television show that you're watching, this is a real person's life." And, it's sort of like after the fact, people are, like, almost, like, waking up to that and trying to, like, give themselves some distance from any kind of, like, personal responsibility.
Yeah, and I think that happens so much online. People will bully people into doing horrible things on occasion, and then they all step back and are like, "Oh, that's such a tragedy that that happened." It's like, you played a part in that when you piled on.
Yeah.
You played a part in that when you said nothing, like,
Mhm.
when you didn't tell people that they were not being okay,
Yeah.
and it's sad. It's really sad what happens to people, um, and how this piling on, this dogpiling, it just it gets out of control a lot, um, and it is dangerous, I think. In a lot of cases, it can be very dangerous, so I hope people will stop and think before they add their comment to all of the other mean, horrible, negative ones that, because you see someone post a picture and people are being rude about whatever. It's like, "Oh, that dress is hideous."
Yeah.
That looks so bad on you. And you feel like, "Oh, everyone else is saying it. I'm
Mhm.
going to say it too."
Yeah. Or even
And I
just
hope people.
liking or doing laughing faces to it or,
Yeah.
like, whatever
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah. And people need to just stop. Like, it's not hard to not add to other people's misery.
Yeah.
It's not. It's really not.
Absolutely. No, definitely, and, that's why I really the book really affected me. It really has made me think about these things a lot since I finished it, and, I really applaud you, like, getting into these really deep, thought-provoking things while it also is really entertaining and creepy, and there's some parts that I had to go back and read again because, I said, it's almost like in a movie where it's like, it's not on camera, but you know what happened, and it's like, "Wait a second, let me reverse that a little bit." "Okay, wonderful, like, that was horrible." So, I just really love it, and I think that the right readers are gonna find it and love it too, and I'm really excited, to see the reaction for that, and hopefully people are thinking about these things, that go along with it as well, so really, really happy to have talked to you again about this book that I love. Any, like, last words, where to find you? Are you doing anything for the book? I did see you're doing a cool event for a book that Rebecca just finished reading, Mallory Arnold's new book.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
exciting.
They
Yeah,
pair
that's gonna.
so well together. I think of just shitty men. Very fun, very fun.
Yeah. Well, I guess I would just say, I know this book is going to be a little divisive, and, one of the things I get a lot is that already my books are a little on the slow side, but just know going into this one, yes, this one's slow. It is kind of fragmented. There's a lot of stuff that happens that doesn't happen on page. It's meant to be that way, and, you know,
Okay.
I
I
will be.
that they're slow because the first book I ever read was '80s Ghost, like, I literally could not put it down and
Yeah,
stayed up. It was one of the first books I distinctly remember reading late into the night of being
mhm,
like, "I have to keep reading this."
yeah,
Thank you.
Don't and Chalupa Cover, we both finished in, like, a day like, tell these people shut up.
yeah, and I finished this book in one sitting pretty much too,
Yes,
so
yes.
Yeah.
No, I
Well,
think
thank
just a fantastic style. I never
you.
struggled to get in or to stay in. I already said that, but it's worth repeating.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I'll just be doing some signings around Utah in July. Other than that, and doing this book event, this on in conversation with Mallory Arnold at the Book Box in Draper, Utah on 17th. And other than that, you can pre-order it either online, like at most book retailers, or you can order it through me. I'm doing it myself this time. There
Very
will be
nice.
a few little goodies thrown in. Oh,
Yeah. Very nice, very nice. You gonna put
Wonderful.
out some, like, fresh recipes and stuff?
yes. Yep, there's a recipe card that will be included for a special
Awesome.
occasion.
Very nice. I was, like, just asking for what I was hoping for, so
Yeah,
but
love
love
it.
it.
So, yes, we'll have to come back and talk about the patch.
Yes, because, going back to my roots.
Yeah, which and I have read the patch too, and guys, it is absolutely delightful. I That's another one I read in one sitting, so but yes, thank you so much again, and we'll talk again soon.
Yeah, thank you so much.